Hello and welcome to the REL 10F weekly recap on Kiss Blue.
And I am everybody's least favorite admin, NinjaPirateAssassin.
Hey, don't say that. Remember, Rumblebee is also an admin.
Yeah, but he gets bonus points because we all get to ping him for useless nonsense and it drives him up the wall. It's endearing. It's like kicking a puppy that keeps coming back to get kicked.
That analogy is awful.
Yeah, it was.
Okay, well, let's get straight into this. The first game of week 1. The Thunderous Puffins versus the Thompsons.
And it looks like the High Elves took it because I'm going to guess Agi5 did Agi5 things. Did have a death on both sides, although looks like it was MVP Dead Loner. Pretty sure that's an achievement.
I mean, he did die for the win, so I think he earned it.
So 2 passes on the High Elf side, 1 pass on the human side, so and 1 successful interception on the High Elf side, it looks like.
Yeah, that's sure what that... Wait. Does the interception not count as a pass?
I do believe it is rated as successful passes, successful catches, and successful interception. So a fumbled pass doesn't get counted as a pass because it didn't work.
And neither does an intercepted pass. But successful I guess the pass needs to be successful and then also the interception. Or then also the... Okay, I get it.
I actually think it's probably just that the pass roll needs to succeed because remember, order of operations is intercept is rolled first. And then pass roll is rolled, and then catch roll is rolled. So to show up as a successful pass, I think you needed to get to the pass roll and succeed it.
You see,
so in this case, I'm reading this as humans attempted 2 passes, succeeded 1 of them, had 1 of them intercepted. Assuming none were failed passes in the middle there.
I think that's definitely the correct assessment. I just think that pass should be ticked every time you do a pass action.
Yeah, cyanide stats are kind of interesting.
Yeah, that's one way to put it.
Other thing of note, 52 blocks to 25 blocks for the High Elves.
Right, that's right. This is a High Elves team. Wow. They also have 106 yards running to the humans 34, which would suggest to me that what happened with the 2-0 is that the Elves stole the ball, and probably 34, let's see, probably around halfway through the half.
Yeah, I'm looking at 7 injuries, so I'm guessing humans got removed to the point of needing to do some desperation pass that got picked off, and that's how the High Elves ended up 2-0, would be my assumption based off of this stat line.
Yeah, that's what it looks like to me. Wow. I guess they did kill the thrower as well.
Looks like humans even have a dodge KO because they have 1 more KO sustained than the Puffins inflicted. So failed dodge or failed GFI into a KO. It's pretty rough. It looks like sounds like a rough game. The only thing I can think of is 52 blocks. That could have been High Elves got removals early and then just snowballed it. Could have also been humans getting a little too marky and getting punished for it. I didn't watch the replay, so feel like that could have gone either way. But that is a rough one for the humans. Did they have a thrower? Did they start with a thrower?
Oh, they had a thrower. The thrower died.
So the thrower's the death, I believe. So.
Yeah, that looks like it was rough. The humans induced Zara the Slayer as well. So, I think is not a terrible, I think actually is not a bad pick in this matchup. Of course, that means that the elves had enough TV on the humans for the humans to induce Zara. So,
Yeah, well, it's high elves were one of the higher TV teams,
mm-hmm.
and humans, of course, were coming in at 960, I think.
Yep, that sounds right.
So unsurprised there.
Okay. Do you actually wait? Do you remember who we predicted would win any of these games?
Yes, I picked high elves because Agi-5 do Agi-5 thing, and you picked humans.
Yeah, I think that tracks. Okay. Moving on. Next, we have Big Maz Blitzers versus WRU Slan FC. Was won by the Lizards 3-2, so this was a fairly high scoring game.
Yeah, and as I recall, I said Lizards win this if they win the removal game, because I felt like Slan or Kislev was going to be able to pressure the ball in such a way that Lizards weren't going to be able to hold it. And it kind of looks like the stat line bears that out. I see 4 injuries inflicted, 1 kill inflicted on the Lizard side, and on top of that, 5 casualties sustained by the Kislev, so they also lost somebody to a failed leap or a failed dodge or
maybe a
failed
foul.
GFI. So that looks like they got maybe brutalized a little bit. Only 29 blocks for the Lizards too.
For the Slan, that is. Lizards made 41 blocks, which is still not a huge number, but it's a little bit more in line when you quickly clear out a team. And mind you, the Lizards only got 9 armor breaks, so this represents a 66% removal rate for armor breaks.
Yeah, certainly more, especially considering no real mighty blow on the Lizard team, because this was the Lizard team without a Crocs. Kind of sounds like the armor rolls went Lizard's way, and that kind of dictated the game.
Wait, 66 is wrong. No, 55. 56, actually, if you want to be more exact. But anyway. There was also a death this game. It was a catcher.
It was a catcher.
Yes, that's exactly it. That's a lot of SVP on the Lizards, and a lot of us on the Saurus as well. But at the same time, they didn't, despite clearly doing well against the Slan, they weren't doing well enough to play around with the Saurus ball. They didn't get any Saurus touchdowns, is what I'm saying. Because, I mean, they were only 1 point ahead. And what looks like it turned into a bit of a shootout, so that does happen. Oh, maybe I can tell if there was a foul. Wait, I'm gonna try something here. No, didn't work. Okay. And anything else to add here?
No, it kind of looks like the Kislev got brutalized and still managed to score. 2 touchdowns and a loss is nothing to sneeze at when you lost 6 players against 9 armor breaks.
Yeah, for sure. Like, aside from the dead catcher, this is the sort of loss that you want to have, where you lose, but you put up a good fight and you got a lot of SBP for it. Okay, moving on. We have the Exqueakables versus Primal Concrete Sledge. And Rats won 1-0.
Yeah, this strikes me as a classic early rat does early rat things. Early rat defense can be really tough to play against because without your kill skills or tackle, you can have a real hard time getting any push if the line rat armor holds.
Plus, gutter runners are OP.
They can be. And, I mean, we did get 6 removals over the course of the game, 3 KOs, 2 injuries, and a kill. That kill being a gutter runner, as we discussed last week, for the Chaos. But
You cut out there a bit.
Actually stopped talking as I was
Okay.
clicking through my tabs. It also looks like the Exqueakables KO'd themselves quite a bit. We have 3 KOs inflicted by the Chaos to 5 KOs sustained by the Exqueakables.
Oh yeah.
And
Two, 3
2
casualties to 1 as well,
inflicted
and
to
1 death to 1.
3.
Fully.
Yeah, so it looks like Skaven removed themselves as much as Chaos removed them.
I think with this many removals from things other than blocks, I think there must have been some fouling going on, but also there must have been a lot of failed dodges. Especially considering the, well, 44 blocks is actually a fairly good number with this number of removals.
Yeah, looks like Skaven were 75% on dodges, which it's hard to tell because some of those could be some of those Desperation 3+s. But if that was mostly Gutter Runner dodges, that was pretty bad. But if we threw a fair number of 3+s in there, that's probably a little better than expected.
You know what though? That means the Gutter Runner died not from a block. So what do we think it was? Was it a surf? Was it a foul? Or was it tripping?
For me, Gutter Runners die on trips all the time. This is why I have Elfgrass, which has saved 2 separate gutters in my team's lifetime.
You know, I don't even doubt that. So clearly the dominant strat against Skaven is to get Astrogranite because you definitely never need to GFI against rats.
Yeah, oddly enough, I find that I GFI more as rats than my opponents because you have so much movement on the Gutter Runners, you're often in a position to 1 or 2 GFI into not being able to be hit under any circumstance.
I sort of understand what you mean. Like, I mean, last team I played was Dwarves, but you know what? We're in here to talk about my team. I think I kind of wish I had gone back to watch this game now because it's, at least, like, I don't think I needed to watch all of it, but I think the first couple turns would have been very informative and very interesting to see. If only for, like, the catharsis of seeing rats get just wrecked. Because looking at the stat line, I feel pretty confident that a lot of these kills were either they were in the first half or they were late in the second half.
Yeah, that is the thing that tends to happen to rats is armor won't break all game, and then everything breaks the last 2 turns when it doesn't matter.
Okay. Last of all, we have Meat Squad versus Hella's Kitchen. And we both called this one, I think.
Yep, as expected, the Norse took this one, looks like quite handily. I see a dead bull centaur on my front page though.
Yep.
That is rough.
But you know what's even more rough? Spaceline cannot cash in that bounty because it was a rookie bull centaur.
I wasn't aware there was a bounty on non-rookie bull centaurs.
Oh, no. Dwiggy has put a bounty on every single I believe it was leveled bull centaurs, level 3 or higher chaos dwarves, or level 2 or higher chaos dwarves with claw. It was something like that. I don't remember the exact details, but generally speaking, if you kill a leveled positional on a chaos dwarf team, you can get a payout from him.
So for anybody, because it's a new division, if you're not familiar, we do have a tongue-in-cheek for funsies bounty board, which is a spreadsheet that you can find in the subreddit on the right-hand side in with the rest of the links, where you can go out and say, if someone permanently injures into retires or kills some specific player, some certain class of player, what have you, you will then put up some kind of prize, and the prizes can be anything from small amounts of money, which is often donated to ReBBL, or whatever else. I know Eisenmike does comic books and often puts out his trade paperbacks, as I recall, as prizes for his bounties. So if you're interested in that sort of thing, again, that's going to be on the sidebar of the subreddit.
I know when I was in REL 1, I did a bounty on every werewolf in the division. It was a running counter for a donation, and the more werewolves died, the more werewolves that were dead by the end of the season, the more it would pay out.
But yeah, so getting back to the game at hand, 54 blocks to 60. That's pretty expected for a bash off. Looks like Chaos Dwarves didn't get the armor breaks they wanted. Only 3 KOs and 2 injuries against 5 injuries and 2 kills from the Norse. Which means somebody probably got apothecaried into that Bull Centaur dying as a second death, is my guess.
That's a good point. It might have just been dead into... Actually, I think I remember hearing about this. It was dead into dead.
Or, right, apothecaries are fake. That's always a thing as well.
But yeah, it's Space Lion is the most experienced coach in the division as far as we know. So we kind of expected him to do well. Maybe not this well, but...
Well, we kind of thought this was how this game was going to go. Rookie dwarfs against being outstrengthed. Because the Norse are playing with the Yeti. They're playing with 2 strength 4 to the 2 Bull Centaurs, the Elves to the Bull Centaur. And then having no skills yet as dwarfs. This is a rough matchup, I think, to pull first.
It definitely is. Even so, I cannot say I was expecting to see a dead bull.
I mean, you never really expect your armor 9 pieces to die, but they do.
Does Space Lion have a Yeti, by the way? He does.
I was pretty sure he did.
But the Yeti did no injuries this game. Okay. Those are the games for week 1. Let's look at some teams. Specifically, we're looking at 2 teams. The first one is WRU Slan FC. We are frogs. There's a couple less frogs than there were last time.
Yep. Looks like he fired his movement busted catcher and replaced it. Because he had 4, and he had 1 die, and he had 1 movement busted, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So that looks like that's what happened there.
Looks like he's also has... Did he have 2 dodge before? I don't recall. I know he didn't have guard before. That's new.
He did have 2 dodge, but I think he lost 1 of his dodge. So I'm wondering if one of these was a rookie that leveled up.
You know, I think I can find out in a moment. But, yeah, like, there's definitely... I mean, we looked at this team a couple days ago, so there hasn't been that much change yet. One of the advantages of having a small division, though, is that we can look at all of the teams more than once. In this case, though, the guard, I'm certain, is new. I think the dodge is... Let's see. Yes, one of his catchers did level up last game. The move busted catcher had dodge. And he fired that one. He also fired a armor busted lineman.
I don't disagree with that call at all.
It's definitely not doing wonders for your team numbers, but I don't think Kislev is a team that needs a big bench.
I mean, we're going to play the next game, 3 loners? Which means you're going to have your line of scrimmage fodder right there. And you just want to make sure those 3 get hit.
I mean, like, stop me if you disagree here, but I feel like Kislev is a lot like Skaven. it's sort of like a more expensive version of Skaven in practice. You have your blitzers doing storm vermin things, and then you have your catchers doing gutter runner things. The only real difference is you can't one turn reliably with Kislev. You need to do a 2-turn, but you can 2-turn pretty reliably.
Yeah, and that certainly seems like how he has built this team, going with no bear and going catcher heavy to start.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, usually one of your linemen ends up being your sacker rather than your catchers, because you generally go wrestle tackle on the linemen on Kislev.
And it's Kislev. It's a 3+ anyway, so who cares?
Yeah, well, it's 3+ to get that 3 strength hit. I think is the big thing, as opposed to the 2 strength catchers.
It is 2 3+ to get a 2 die.
So, I mean, yeah, a little bit of a rough start, not unrecoverable. Losing the catchers hurt, because that seems like the focus of this team, the way he's built it. But you got the lizards out of the way, so hopefully next game goes a little bit better. Managed to get some good SPP on the team in the game that he lost. So
I will say, try to feed your blitzers some touchdowns. They are much, much, much better players after they have a couple levels of development. Like, they really need something so that they can take a hit, and they really need something to take advantage. Like, the blitzers are good because of their level ups. They are not good because of their starting skills.
I don't have a counterpoint, because I've never played Kislev. But I think the biggest problem is you need levels everywhere.
Yeah, like...
You want at least dodge on your catchers, you want block on your blitzers, you want wrestle on your linemen, or block or some combination on your linemen. And that's always the big problem, right? They start with nothing, they develop pretty decently, but you need to develop the whole team, and that can be difficult.
Yeah, like, I cannot say that I know what the right balance is, because you definitely want to level up your catchers really quickly too. You want to treat them like elf catchers or like gutter runners, where they get a ton of level ups and they just get really good and gross. But also, your blitzers are pretty good, but only when they're like level 3 or 4 do they become really good. So, and
I kind of feel like you want all of your catchers and all of your blitzers to get to level 3 as quickly as possible. Your linemen, I think you're okay at level 2, just getting them block or wrestle, because of all of the rerolls that things like leap are going to eat, and your 1 in 9 blocks in the beginning, because nobody starts with any useful blocking skills. And it's rough. It's just a rough team to start, I think.
Yeah, like, that's probably a fair call. But I think Excelsius has been doing an okay job so far, and I definitely look forward to seeing what they do going forward. Now let's look at that other team. It is the Lizardman opponent from this week. Oh, hey, you took my advice. Great. Put the contact information. If you have nothing else to put in your motto, put the contact information here. Follow this example. It's great. It's Big Ma's Blitzers.
And it looks like he also didn't escape unscathed with the movement busted Saurus that I think you keep.
Well, the thing is, you notice that he has 90k in his bank. He hasn't replaced it yet, right? He's still saving up for a new Crocs.
Yep, like I said, I think you keep the movement bust on the Saurus isn't the worst thing in the world. Even if he levels, you'll just make him a block guard piece, right? Rather than giving him maybe, you'll save break tackle for somebody else. Plus, he's got an MVP already, and you'll take any SPP you can get on your Saurus at the start, no matter how you get it. Movement bust isn't the worst. Like, if it was a strength bust or maybe an armor bust, even an armor bust, I don't know if I would have fired right away being down a Crocs. I might hold an armor bust until I can afford to replace it, but a movement bust isn't the worst. Like I said, he's gonna be a scrum Saurus.
Yep, put him on the
so that
line.
He doesn't have to move very far. And I think you're still saving up to replace the Crocs as your first buy.
And you might replace the Saurus eventually, but there are more important things to spend the money on right now. Other than that, I mean, this team has a lot of Saurus who are... It is 3 Saurus who are 1 casualty away from leveling up. It is 2 more that are 2 casualties away. I think in the next game or 2, this team is going to light up, and its TV is going to go up by 1,000. Even if it doesn't buy the Crocs, it's going to go up by like 100k TV in 1 or 2 games.
Yeah, I think if I'm the Norse or the Chaos, I really want to play these guys now rather than later.
Maybe not the Chaos Dwarves. I think they would do best to play them at the end of the season.
Yeah, I think Chorfs are going to have a little bit of a rough go in the start, being that the other 3 Bash teams all outstrength them. But, yeah, no, definitely for Chaos or Norse, I think now is the time to play this team when it has no skills, because it's only going to get better when it picks up the Crocs, when it gets these levels on these players that are close.
Other than that, like, I don't think there's actually that much to say about this team's development. Rolled a couple normals and skinks, took sure feet. That's a pretty standard take. That's what I take on skinks.
Sidestep, you mean?
Sidestep, yes. I said sure feet. What am I even?
You did say sure feet.
I mean, you could take a sure feet on a skink, but sidestep's probably better.
Yeah, I mean, the 2 standard level ups for skinks that don't roll doubles or useful anything is sidestep and diving tackle, right? And then you fire them because they're useless and you want them to get something that isn't sidestep or diving tackle.
Having 1 skink who has catch can be useful as well. You don't take it on all of them, but you just give it to 1 because it makes handoff plays much easier to pull off.
All right. Shall we take a look at next week's game and do a terrible job of predicting?
Yeah, let's do it. First off, we have Thompsons versus Big Ma's Blitzers. Let's see. That is the Lizards we just looked at versus the Humans, I think.
That is correct. So Lizards down, no Crocs, and down 1 Saurus. Against a human team that I think just lost a thrower, but is still at 11. I actually think this matchup, with the way the team is right now, probably favors the Humans a little bit. Being down a Crocs and down a Saurus, so you're playing, 5 Saurus and a bunch of skinks, right? 6 skinks? The Humans don't have tackle, which is rough, but they're going to get 3 die with block from the blitzers on the skinks a lot when they skink hunt. And armor 8 linemen, I mean, yeah, Kislev didn't have the greatest go of it, but armor 8 linemen to sit on those Saurus and make them do nothing. That sounds plus the ogre, right? You can throw the ogre on 1 and he's going to get 2 dies against a naked Saurus. So even if you do roll a 1 and 9, you're going to take it down with you at least.
The Humans do actually have quite low TV as well, so even though the Lizards are down some players, the Humans will still definitely have inducement money. Which, I mean, Zara didn't work out so well for them last time, but I mean, like, Zug is only 260. They might be able to induce them. I'm not doing the math. You know what? No, they won't be able to induce Zug. Bad example. But they'll be able to get a chainsaw.
Yeah, a lot of ways you can go there. I think
that'll be an interesting match to watch, though.
Yeah, this to me smells like a 2-1 human victory kind of game.
Okay, yeah, let's go with that. Next match: Thunderous Puffins versus the Exqueakables. I'm gonna go with the team that has 2 movement 10 gutter runners on it.
Yeah, it's Agi 5 things against how do you stop 2 movement 10 gutter runners from scoring all the time? Short version is you kill them before they can score, which at early TV is actually kind of hard.
Especially when there's 2 of them.
Yeah, this screams shootout. Like, if I'm elves, I'm gonna try and remove as many rats as I can to make it as hard as I can for the Skaven. And if I'm Skaven, I'm just gonna score on my movement 10s to try and get them useful skills.
That could happen, though. Both of these teams could 2-turn very easily.
Yeah, this to me seems like one of those games that could very easily be 4-3.
Oh.
Not necessarily, but like I would not be surprised to see a 3-2 or a 4-3 game come out of this.
I hope that happens. If only because it'll be fun to talk about next week. But yeah, I'm gonna give advantage to the rats.
Movement 10 is 2 movement 10 gunners. Like, your 1 turn is only 1 push, and if you can get the second push, it's only 1 GFI. You're gonna have so much range on the high elves, who are only movement 6 on most of their pieces. Right, their linemen are 6 and their catchers are 8. Right, and their blitzers are. Am I remembering that right?
Blitzers are 7, catchers are 8, linemen are 6. I think.
Yeah. So the Skaven are much faster. The downside, this is the classic early Skaven game. If the armor holds, it's going to be really hard for them not to take. If the armor doesn't hold, they've got so much movement, they're still going to score a bunch. I would be very, very surprised if this was anything lower than a 3-2 game.
Okay, and next we have Slan versus Meat Squad. Chaos Dwarves are looking a little worse for wear, and as we talked about, Slan, they may have lost against Lizards, but they did pretty well against them. I think they're not going to have too much trouble jumping over the Chaos Dwarves.
I think this matchup favors the Kislev as well. Instead of playing against 6 Sauruses, they're playing against 5 blockers and a bull and a bunch of hobgoblins.
Also, though, I think this will also be a very good match to watch. I do think that the Slan will probably win it, but this will be a very good match to watch to get a gauge on the skill of the coaches, as it will be a very positional dependent match. Like a positioning, rather.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is going to be, can the Chorf player keep the blockers relevant? Because obviously, if you're Kislev, it's keep the catchers away from the blockers. The benefit is the blockers are movement 4.
Yep.
And your catchers are a lot faster than that.
Much faster.
Shouldn't be too hard of an ask. Only having the 1 bull centaur means that the strength game is going to be pretty even between the 2, right? I mean, the Chorfs outstrength you by 1 point. A little bit more because of the catcher's strength too, right? So 3 or 4 points, right?
The catch, of course, is that the Kislev need to go over the block. The catchers need to go over the blockers to score. At least if the positioning is good, that's what will happen. That's why it's an interesting match. If they can go around the catchers, then that will be a pretty strong indicator of the skill of the players. If they need to go over them, then that's also a good indication of the skill, just in a different direction.
Yeah, I think this is going to be pretty similar to the Kislev game against the Lizards in that the Chorfs need removals. And if the Chorfs don't get removals, the speed difference is going to be a problem, I think. And it's also be curious to see if he's carrying on the bull or carrying on the hobs. Because if you try to carry on the bull and you can't pick up the ball, you're at risk of them just jumping over your Chorf line and running to get the ball from. But at the same time, I feel like if you can manage to carry on the bull this game, it's going to make it much harder for the Kislev to get the ball off of you. Because now even their cage leaps are still going to be half dies. Yep. Or maybe a 1 die if they get the guard in, right?
I don't know. It'll be up to them.
Should be a good one to watch.
Yeah.
I still think this is Kislev's game to take, short of everything getting smashed into the ground again, just like the Lizards game.
Yeah, I think I agree, but well, like you said, I think it'll be very interesting to watch. Last of all, we have Primal Concrete Sludge versus Hella's Kitchen. Um, this is the Chaos team playing against the North.
Yep, Chaos team with 3 block players and a wrestle player, so not as bad as it could be for this matchup.
I don't think their claw is going to do too much work, but I do think that they got the Norse at a good time. I think probably the Chaos would struggle more against North at the end than they would at the beginning. Like, fully developed Chaos will shred Norse, but one season old Norse is probably better than 1 season old Chaos.
Yeah, and it looks like the Norse are going to be down their Mighty Blow Berserker for this game. So they have the Yeti, 2 Alfs with no skills yet, a Strength Up Berserker, and they've got Guard on their second lineman to level, which is the easy double for linemen.
On Norse, for sure, yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be a close game, I think.
It very well could be. It will be a bash fest, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's Norse versus Chaos. It's do the Chaos 1 and 9, and does the Norse armor hold? That's going to be, I think, the tale of the game.
Yep, that sounds like exactly what it's going to be all about. Okay.
Yeah, I'm a coin flip on this one. I think this goes 2-1 one way or the other.
I do suspect that Primal. No, that's the wrong team. I do suspect that Incesticide is one of the more experienced teams in the division. I mean, one of the more experienced coaches in the division. But I do give this slight advantage to Spaceline because I know for sure that he is.
I think this is going to come down to dice, honestly. I think these are fairly evenly matched teams, and assuming that the coaching level is fairly evenly matched, it's will the Chaos fail 3 pluses to pick up in 1 and 9 blocks, and will Norse's armor hold or not?
I mean,
and will Chaos's armor hold or not? Right?
I mean, generally I agree with you, but if I don't commit one way or the other, then we can't say that I was wrong next week.
I mean, I just assume that we're going to say I'm wrong all the time, and I'm fine with that, so.
That's fair.
But I think there's going to be a lot of good matchups to watch this week. And in case you haven't noticed, we did roll early for Thanksgiving to give people as much time as possible because obviously a lot of people are going to be traveling. And again, I am the admin for this div, so if you are traveling and that means that you can't get the game played and need an extension, it's not uncommon for us to hold the div an extra day if needed. But the div is rolled, so you can play right now. So reach out to your opponents and see if you can't get something scheduled.
Yep, there you have it. I think we're done.
Yeah, looking forward to next week and see how some of these matchups turned out.
Yeah, I might have even been right for one of them. Okay, well, until next time, I hope you all enjoy your games. Bye!